presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Hunter Renfroe and 3 El Paso Stars, the core 4 they call them, are here to debut. 3 of them making their major league initial start. Against the Giants and Buster Posey, the Giants in a battle wild card. They're tied with the St. Louis Cardinals and New York Mets. Only 2 of the 3 can make it to the playoffs. As we welcome you to beautiful Petco Park. First of a 4-game series. The Padres and the Giants has been so unusual. The Giants win the first 9, and the Padres have won the last 6.
Tale of 2 teams for the Giants. The best record in baseball the first half, and then the second half, they can't seem to put anything together, mostly about the offense and, of course, the bullpen. In the 9th inning, of course, for the Giants, boy, that's the biggest conundrum out there for Bruce Bochy.
And we'll talk about that. The core 4, they're calling them, up from the Pacific Coast League champion El Paso Chihuahuas.
It's going to be an exciting game. When you look at the lineup, you got Margot, Renfroe, Asuaje, and Hedges. Hey, they always said that baseball is a kid's game, right? Well, youth is being served tonight. You've got speed, you've got average, you've got pop in the bat of Hunter Renfroe, and they're youngsters that are getting a chance. Must be some type of feeling to bring your bats down to the bat rack here at the big league ballpark and get ready for a big league ball game. So I'm excited. I know these kids are excited too. You're going to love these kids, Professor.
Oh, I can't wait to see them in action. Now for the Giants, they have the worst record in baseball after the All-Star break, after they had the best record before the All-Star break, and a lot of that goes back to the bullpen.
Hey, Bruce Bochy's trying to figure out, hey, who's going to close up shop? Who has the keys to close? Well, look at in the 9th inning or later, the Giants 6.35 ERA since August 13th. You know, who wants the ball? Who is Bruce Bochy going to do? The defense at time flounders. The offense isn't there. They've had a carousel of relievers trying to close it out in the 9th inning for the San Francisco Giants. But the other thing, all the rest of the bullpen, 1.35 since that date. So it's the 9th inning that's really given them a lot of trouble.
29 blown saves. Well, more on this rookie core 4 from Julie Alexandria when we return to Petco Park, the opener of the weekend series with the San Francisco Giants. Baseball, brought to you by Jerome's Furniture, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. By Volkswagen Kearney Mesa, awarded Best in San Diego County for service and sales. Experience the exceptional at Volkswagen Kearney Mesa. And by Pinnacle on the Park. Make your new home here. Visit pinnacleonthepark.com for details.
Well, there's an air of excitement here at Petco Park, and manager Andy Green knows the feeling well. That major league debut, possibly the biggest moment in a major league player's life. Well, tonight, you guys get a front row seat to see that special moment for a few players here with the Padres. Andy Green discussed the specialness of someone's major league debut before the game.
I think anytime you watch a guy make their major league debut or their first start, it's fun. It always brings renewed energy to the ballpark. You realize that there's people on the field that have dreamt their whole life about that moment. And I think one of the coolest things as a fan or a manager or a coach or anybody that's watching the game is you're witnessing a lifelong dream culminated in a moment. And you can feel it. And that's so much fun. You see the smiles they can't contain when they get their first hit.
Coming up, the Padres taking on the Giants. Let's make it 7 straight as the Padres go for their 7th win against their upstate rivals.
Margot and Asuaje, El Paso familiar. Now's our chance to see the Padres' top prospects up close. Tonight, all 4 penciled into the Padres starting lineup, giving us a glimpse of the San Diego future. For the Giants, their future could be minus the playoffs as their second-half woes have multiplied, leaving them on the brink of an even-year collapse. The immediate, the long-range future. With 10 games to go, Giants and Padres next. And we're set to go as Christian Friedrich and the Padres have taken the field against the San Francisco Giants on this Thursday night. Pleased you're with us. Start of the Hispanic and Heritage Weekend here in San Diego. And the Giants lineup for Bruce Bochy, brought to you by Hyundai. Eduardo Nunez will lead it off with Pagan and Posey. Second and third, Hunter Pence hits cleanup. Gorkys Hernandez, in a brief amount of time, has produced some good hitting and some home runs. Brandon Belt at first base. A.R. Adrianza at shortstop. Joe Panik down to the 8th spot in the batting order in front of Jeff Samardzija.
And left-hander Christian Friedrich is going to toe the slab tonight. 28-year-old making his 22nd start. He's got fastball command early, and if he throws that curveball for strikes anytime, he could be really, really tough.
The left-hander from Evanston, Illinois delivers, and we're underway. Ball one. The Padres start tonight 64-88. The Giants, as we said, at 80-72, the same record as the Mets and the Cardinals. Been a rough time since mid-July for that man, Bruce Bochy. Nothing seems to go right. There's a strike, 1-1. Nunez, 29, Dominican Republic. Acquired from the Twins. A one-hopper to Ryan Schimpf at third. And one away. Schimpf at 28, the oldest man, along with Friedrich, who's 28, in the lineup tonight. Here's the Padres defense, brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. You need a program tonight. Jankowski moves to left to accommodate Margot in center, and that man Hunter Renfroe with a strong throwing arm in right field. Schimpf at third base, Sardinius at short, Asuaje, there he is at second, and Myers at first, with Austin Hedges back behind the plate as a Padre.
Hey, kids, why don't you go outside and play a game of baseball? Get out of the house. Right, Professor?
Yeah, these are the kids. This is the future. And Andy Green says there are no promises, but in between the lines you read there's hope that these are the men that are going to carry the Padres to greater heights. Switch hitting Angel Pagan, 271 overall, as you saw, 11 home runs. The Giants, it's been a combination of a terrible bullpen, of closing especially, and they haven't been able to hit of late. The 3 games at Los Angeles, they connected just one time with a runner in scoring position, 1 for 17. Well, there's plenty out there in the pen, but can somebody close the deal? Line drive deep to left center field, a long run for Jankowski, but he's there. Well, we forget all that speed has moved over to left field, and Margot equally adept at covering a lot of real estate, so 2 away.
Yeah, you talk about pitching the gaps. It's going to be fun to see this outfield going to balls like that and tracking them down for the pitching staff.
Buster Posey steps up. Posey, a good batting average. He's right around where he's expected to be, 291, but the 13 home runs a surprise. And he takes ball 1 too low. One, but foul down the left field line. Let's check our top tier player profile, brought to you by Arco. Posey, all-time leaders among catchers, consecutive seasons with 145 plus hits. Posey on that list with Simmons, Kendall, Piazza, Berra, Sandgy, and a couple of Hall of Famers there. Right field, easy play for Renfroe. Tucks it away, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Christian Friedrich. Here come the Padres. Jankowski to lead it off. Giants. And the Padres lineup is brought to you by Toyota. Jankowski to lead it off with Manny Marco, the center fielder, hitting second. Will Myers on a 10-game hitting streak in the third spot. Ryan Schimpf will hit cleanup. Hunter Renfroe in right field bats fifth. Carlos Asuaje, the PCL Rookie of the Year, will hit sixth in front of Austin Hedges. Hit 20 home runs in El Paso. Luis Sardinas in the eighth hole, and Christian Friedrich.
And on the hill, Jeff Samardzija, the right-hander, has gone 3-1 with a 4.3 ERA in 5 starts against the Padres. The fastball, the cutter, the slider, and the splitter. He will expand late with that slider and split. So you might see the Padre hitters jumping on old number 1 early if they get it from Jeff Samardzija.
And the book on Samardzija, get him the first time around. He's much more generous early in the game, and then after the second round of hitters, he tightens it up. Jankowski hitting .244. And he swings at the first pitch. A couple of hops out to second baseman Panic, and there's one away. Check of the Giants defense brought to you by Ford of Escondido. Hunter Pence in right field, Hernandez in center, and Pagan over in left. On the infield, Nunez, Adrianza, Joe Panic at second, and Brandon Belt at first base. Buster Posey behind the plate. As here's Manny Margot, his first major league start. 304 average at El Paso. Takes inside. Well, the strength, even at AAA level, is his incredible defensive skills in center field, and now it's a matter of his hitting catching up with his defense. And the tendency, I'm talking with Rod Baraja, his manager down to El Paso, is that he's just a hitter that's going to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got all the skills, and he's hitting .300, and they're saying, well, he's going to get a lot better than that.
And I'm glad these kids are getting a start tonight against a veteran guy like Samardzija. They're going to know what it's like to face a bona fide big league pitcher.
Chops it to third, playing shallow Nunez, and as fast as Margot is, he can't beat that one out. 2 away on ground balls, and we'll look at the keys to the game tonight, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, the shot from center field, which is a nice one. Continue post All-Star trend. Remember the Padres after the All-Star break, 6-0 versus the Giants. Let's keep up that trend. And no big stage intimidation for the youngsters. Hey, it's still 90 feet to first base, still 60 feet 6 inches to home plate to the pitcher's mound. Just play your game. Stay with your strength and have some fun.
And we'll get the bugs out of there. And there's a low line drive scooped out by Nunez, and Myers is robbed of a hit. Well hit, but 3 quick ground ball outs for Samardzija.
We're so close to what we want. You know, like the goal of the season is to make the playoffs and win the World Series. So like we are in a very close relationship to what we're headed to, and what, you know, and I think you couldn't ask for a more beautiful scenario. Like every game right now is a playoff game for us. Like I'm like my whole body is like full of that tingly feeling and just the love and the passion of coming out and playing a game that's that close. And even as a baseball fan, I'm not only a player, it's like there's nothing more beautiful than three teams like battling it out, like what's all the scenarios. So it's a really fun time to be playing.
Well, Hunter Pence, one of the most effusive players in the Giants lineup, he earned the nickname the Reverend. And that's because he gives speeches. He's known for getting up in the middle of the clubhouse and getting everyone's attention and firing these guys up when they need it, especially when they're in a playoff race. Well, I had to ask him, has he given these guys any speeches as of late? And he said, no, haven't felt that it's been warranted. He's like, but don't worry, I have one ready if we need it.
Well, he silently walks to the dugout, 3 pitches and 3 strikes. He's out of there. 1 away here in the second.
And you know, that does not come by appointment. And thank you very much, Julie, for that little nugget on Hunter Pence. That's something that's organic. That is what Hunter Pence has in his heart and in his soul to do that. It's not like Bruce Bochy goes, hey, you're going to be the guy, Hunter, you know, go give a speech. That's not the way it works.
They're invaluable players like that,
Yeah.
that are leaders in the clubhouse. Gorkys Hernandez, 38 at bats, 11 hits, 2 of them home runs. Homered against the Padres up in San Francisco. Friedrich sends it outside, 1-1.
Here's one thing I want to look at tonight, Professor. Austin Hedges behind the plate and his framing abilities to get some pitches for Christian Friedrich. I've always liked the way he receives the baseball, sets up behind home plate. He wants the high fastball here.
And the pitch before, he framed it nicely, and that was a strike. So now it's 1-2. Hedges, 24. He was a second-round draft pick of the Padres, same year as they selected Hunter Renfroe first.
Ooh.
Foul back. That was up in his zone.
Did you see what Austin did? He tapped the ground. He gave the changeup sign, and then he tapped the ground again with his glove, indicating, hey, bounce it. And he got away with one there.
Here's where the relationship between Hedges and the Padres pitching staff goes all the way back to spring training, when they will handle warm-ups even long before the games begin in those very early sessions, and they might throw 25-30 pitches under the watchful eye of Darren Balsley, and then they go out and they talk with that pitcher.
Sure.
You know, what do you really like to throw here? What did you think about this pitch? And that's great to see.
And what a treat it is for youngsters, maybe first-year big league camp, and they get to catch a veteran guy like a Tyson Ross.
Chopped at the plate. It remains 2-2. You saw Rod Barajas, the manager at El Paso. He was beaming down in the dugout.
Yes,
wasn't
he was. A great year. There's Rod on the left, the skipper for the El Paso Chihuahuas.
Of course, he can give insight to the 4 rookies in the starting lineup that played for him and the champions of the PCL. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hernandez. Inside's the call. 3-2 from Mike Machlinski, holding the balls and strikes tonight.
Boy, John Jay was talking to Tarek Brocker on first base for about a good 20 minutes during batting practice.
And it's low, ball 4. There's the first Giant base runner. Time now to take a look at the standings, brought to you by UC San Diego Health. The NL wild card, 80 and 72 for 3 teams with 10 games to go. That's what Hunter Pence was talking about, the electricity, the excitement of being in a mini pennant race. Pittsburgh is 3.5 out, not totally out of the picture, and the Marlins 4.5 back. And the scenario for if it ends in a 3-way tie, I mean, if we have a half-hour postgame, we can explain it to you.
A lot of moving parts, huh, Dick?
Really. John Miller, the great broadcaster, Hall of Fame broadcaster with the Giants, came over and started to explain it to us. We were rehearsing at the time. We had to stop everything for 10 minutes just to get halfway through the whole deal. Well, 16 home runs leads the Giants. Shift on. That'll sail out of play. Leads the team in doubles and walks. He's walked 95 times. That's among the league leaders. Sardinius remains on the shortstop side, playing closer to second than to third. So really stacked up for the pull hitting Belt. Two and one. .251 against the shift. .271 overall, so it means he's without the shift he's hitting close to 300. Breaking ball hangs up. 3-1. So he's walked Hernandez with one out and now falls behind 3-1 and to Belt. Of all the players in the majors, Belt sees the shift fifth most. Davis, Ortiz, Granderson, Rizzo, and Belt. And that one misses. So back-to-back walks, and the Giants are in business here thanks to Friedrich's wildness with one out, and that'll bring up A-Ray Adrianza, the switch hitting shortstop, batting .414 right-handed and only .182 left-handed, so he's hitting from his strong side against Friedrich.
Well, Christian Friedrich really doesn't have the crosshair set to hit his spots. You know, luckily they've been off the plate, not towards the middle of the plate, to where they can do some damage with an extra base hit. Remember, it just takes one good pitch here to get a grounder. Take your chances that way.
Padres looking for the double play chance. Strike one.
Got to work down. Pretty much straight away in the outfield. Straight up the gut. Manuel Margot.
And they're up a step or two at each position in the outfield. Boy, he's really having trouble hitting home plate, but he carves that one in there. 0-2.
It was a really good breaking ball from Christian.
Got to wait on Muchlinski. He doesn't give you the immediate call.
Get up on top, pull it. It's a slider, it looks like, and watch Austin Hedges stick it right there. Yeah, there you go.
In the dirt, blocked by Hedges. Hustles out in front of the plate to make sure there's no advance. Hernandez at second, Belt over at first. The Giants 3-7 the last 10 games. They've scored only 8 runs in the last 5 games. 8 in the last 5. A chance here. And did he go? 2-2.
Well, he's thrown 2 breaking balls in a row. 3 breaking balls in a row. I checked that. 3. Does he throw him another one here? Or maybe, you know, if the hitter's thinking a fastball, they pull the string on a changeup. So many things Friedrich can do right here.
Now it goes full. Still only 1 out. He struck out Pence to open this second. Crowd still filing in on this Thursday night at Petco Park. Lots of orange on the third base side. The Giants fans are here in force. Line foul. Game 2 tomorrow night. Remember, that's a 7:40 start, so we'll be on the air at 7 o'clock with Padres Live, the pregame show. Edwin Jackson will go against Albert Suarez. Well, there's a Charger fan and Padre fan. Chargers off to Indianapolis for their game Sunday. Strike 3 call. Caught the inside corner. So an odd inning for Friedrich. Strikeout, walk, strikeout.
Well, one thing I've noticed early on, Christian Friedrich, the last few starts, he's not afraid to bury that fastball in, but if you get it in there, you got to get it off the plate a little bit early. If you leave it over the heart of the plate, they could turn on it, but that one actually splits the inside corner. Big time pitch in a big time situation.
And as we watch Austin Hedges receive the ball, and when a catcher catches it and you see his hand move to try to get in the strike zone is one thing. But when a catcher is so adept, he can catch the ball and kind of hold it there without moving his hand. That sells it. That sells it to the umpire. That's outside ball 1 to Joe Panic, hitting 240. Watch how he catches, receives the ball. See, just squeezes it, then just subtly eases it back into position and either jerks it over the plate. Then the umpire says, no, you're not going to get me to buy that. One and 0. Outside 2-0. Rough inning for Friedrich. Lots of pitches. 25. 2 on by way of walks. And behind Panic 2-0. Three and 0. Pitcher next. So there is a base open, third. But Samardzij's not a bad hitter now. He's got 9 runs batted in, even more than Madison Bumgarner, who is a terrific hitter. He's got a total of 10 hits, 5 of them doubles. So 3 balls, no strikes. There's a Mad Bum. And he walks him on 4 pitches. A weird inning indeed. Bases loaded, all on walks. Here comes Balsley to cool him down and remind him Samardzij is a better than average hitting pitcher.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dick. But also, go over the scouting report, getting him a little bit of a blow out there. Throwing a lot of pitches. It's a heavy workload.
Message is brief, and back to the dugout goes Balsley, and here comes Samardzij. With the bases loaded this year, Samardzij has been up 4 other times and has delivered hits twice. So beware. That's a strike. 90 miles an hour. Hernandez, Belt, and Panic. Load them up. Strike 2. Curveball.
Very nice number 2.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 pitches, he takes care of Samardzij. 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, no runs for the Giants.
last night as Hunter Renfroe gets his first major league at bat, and they walk him. But according to Hunter, this is nothing new. He told me a story that when he was a senior in high school, he was playing a doubleheader. There were a ton of scouts in the crowd, especially a couple from the Yankees. Well, he was intentionally walked all 8 times. Played in both games of the doubleheader, did not even get to swing at any pitches. One of the scouts offered to buy the opposing coach a steak dinner if he would just give him a legitimate at-bat. Well, afterwards, they took BP and he was able to see him swing. But he said last night, nothing different, just on a bigger stage, as he was walked a total of 62 times his senior year in high school.
That is due respect. And Renfroe carries right over from his youth to the major leagues. He'll get some cuts tonight. Here's Schimpf to lead off the second. And he pops it high in the air off third. A long run, but there is the shortstop, Adrianza. One away. And here is Hunter Renfroe, Mississippi State, #1 draft pick of the Padres. As he told Mark Grant, he likes to cook, and I was expecting something a little more exotic, but it figures. Steaks and potatoes.
Yeah.
He's a steak and potato guy. And venison as well. He likes to hunt deer. 30 home runs at El Paso. PCL Player of the Year. He fouls the first pitch off.
You know, Julie makes a good point in that little nugget about Hunter Renfroe, because I've talked to scouts before, and they say, you know, they're going to get a good read on a player over the course of a high school season. But if you're walking him all the time, you can't really see what the kid has. So you go to a ball game, you see 4 wide ones, 4 at bats, and it's like, okay, well, thanks for coming. You really can't get a read on a kid's swing during game time situation.
And he was able to showcase his talent with Mississippi State in the College World Series. After that breaking ball, 0-2.
I was just going to say, you might see another breaking ball here. 2-seamer in.
Mark McGuire, Andy Green, they both remember well their first time starting in the big leagues. Pulling for these kids. Lays off there nicely, 2-2.
A good read on that second slider.
Ripped to third and by, and on his first major league at bat, Hunter Renfroe has a solid single to left field. That gets rid of the over nerves, and the ball was souvenir in the fake toss by Jay.
Let's go back to pitch number 1. The fastball off the grill of Buster Posey. Okay, now 0-2 nasty slider. I think this next pitch here, the slider, is the pitch of the at-bat. Laying off the slider they swung at earlier. Then Hunter hunting the breaking ball. That was a little hanger up top. And he sends it through the 5.5 hole. First big league knock for Hunter Renfroe.
And here's the initial start for Carlos Asuaje. He hits it high in the air to center. Got under it a bit too much. And out there is Hernandez for the second out. Didn't waste any time, the PCL Rookie of the Year Asuaje swinging at the first pitch. And here's catcher Austin Hedges, more familiar than the other 3. And he had a solid season, even though it was delayed a couple of months with that fractured hamate bone. Hit .326 with 21 homers. 82 runs batted in. If he hadn't been injured, just think about what those home run RBI numbers would have been. So he's proven, at least at the AAA level, that he can hit. We all know how terrific he is behind the plate. And he pounds that one foul.
I remember when we got word of Austin's injury earlier in the year, there was like a big, oh no, right? And he bounced back quite nicely. Put together a great year.
Pulls that one foul.
You think Jeff Samardzija is trying to get in Austin Hedges' kitchen? 2 pitches right in on the hands.
Born in San Juan Capistrano, lives in Tustin, went to high school in Tustin. Up high, 1-2. Last year with San Diego, he appeared in 56 games, only 137 at bats, and hit just 168. And the work with Alan Center constantly in Peoria spring training, and you could see almost day by day Hedges' swing improving, and it's paid off at El Paso. Takes away 2-2. It's exciting to see these young guys, isn't it?
Sure is. John Jay talking with Aswahe there. And John Jay was talking with everybody during batting practice. He was in everybody's ear, coaching everybody up.
Renfroe at first, 2 out, and full count for Hedges. 96 on that fastball. So Belt will step behind the runner at first. Eric Brock in the ear, the runner Renfroe. Get a good jump here. You could score on a double. Swung on and foul tip, strike 3. First strikeout Samardzija, but also the first major league hit in his first at bat in the bigs for Hunter Renfroe. You can put that one in the book. Renfroe, a major league single. Brought to you by your Mission Federal Credit Union. Earlier today, Mission Fed donated over $2,000 and provided tickets to representatives from the Emilio Nares Foundation. Mission Fed donates around $1.5 million a year to local charities. Congratulations. Christian Friedrich into the top of the third, top of the order. Eduardo Nunez fouls that one high and far, way out in front. That's going to make it into the third deck, way down in the corner. He's got some power now. Before coming to San Francisco, hit 12 home runs. He's had 4 more with the Giants, so 16 on the season. And he hits that one fairly deep to left, and to the warning path goes Jankowski for the catch. Get a little nervous when you drive that outfielder into that short corner. Yep. But just an out. Angel Pagan line to left field, his first at bat. Well, if you weren't with us for the anthem, the cast of the new musical, a premiere musical at La Jolla Playhouse, Miss You Like Hell. They were really, really good, weren't they?
Really good. One of the better ones of the year.
The title of that musical, Miss You Like Hell, sounds satanic, doesn't it? I mean, I hope it's happier than that. I hope he's not missing us. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Sharply hit to the left of Shimpe. Grabs it and throws him out. Angel Pagan has not been heavenly here of late. Look over on the right, batting 160 here in September. Brandon Crawford not playing tonight at 212 and Panic 136. So they just aren't hitting. They're not scoring. And when playing in tight, the pitching's been okay. They get into a 2-1, 3-2 game late and have the lead, and Bruce Bochy goes to the pen. He just can't find a guy that can get those final 3 outs consistently.
And then Cueto getting hurt, Crawford getting hurt. Seems like things towards the end are not going well for the Giants.
Yeah,
just
that's right.
Compounding things.
Yeah, Cueto was in line to pitch the Sunday game here, but now it's a TBA, to be announced. So he might be improved, but it doesn't sound like it. It's a groin strain, and that can nag for quite a while. 1-1 to Posey. Fly to right his first time.
Well, remember the series up in San Francisco, the pitching staff did one heck of a job against Buster Posey. Pound him down and away. At times he will chase off-speed stuff. Now it's a fastball count here, 2-1. Does Christian Friedrich pitch backwards here? Meaning throw a breaking ball or a changeup in a fastball count.
You saw the last 6 games. He takes a strike 2 in tow, hitting well over 400. He loves batting here at Petco Park. 311 in his career. That's the best of any major league hitter in our home yard. This year is 6 for 23 and a home run.
That was a good fastball on the inside part of the plate for a strike.
Out of play. There it is. No one has a better average opposing hitter than 311. By much. That's a good pitch.
You know, that's also a tough pitch to lay off. A pitch that close. Buster's got really good command of the strike zone, so that's a good take for the Giant catcher.
Wouldn't you think catchers in general should have good eyes at the plate?
Sure.
I mean, they're catching the ball around plate all. They should know the dimensions.
Great point.
Swing and a foul tip, strike 3. And Posey is gone. For Christian Friedrich, he now has 4 strikeouts. Giants go in order in the 3rd. Still no score.
Now Dickerson drives it to deep right field. High, deep, and very good in the top deck for Dickerson.
And that's a top moment from the 2016 Padres season, brought to you by Geico. On July 25th in Toronto, Dickerson launched that moonshot, 5th deck at Rogers Center, becoming just the 15th player ever to reach that high nest.
That's
number, by the way, we're going to give you, as we, 10 games to go, so we're going to give fans a chance to appreciate high fly ball off the bat of Luis Sardinas into shallow left, and that'll be the first out. So we're going to, with 10 games to go, our select blue ribbon panel has picked out the 10 best plays, 10 best moments of the Padres season. That's number 10.
Very cool.
Number 10. Tomorrow night, guess what number we're going to have tomorrow night?
Let's see. If tonight was 10, tomorrow would be 9.
You're on your game.
9.
Yeah, you're on your game.
9 times, Mrs. Bueller.
Christian Friedrich. 2 hits this year, 33 at bats. A spirit of 76 average. Ground ball left side, loved by Nunez in front of the shortstop, and throws him out. 2 gone.
Hey, we just had an old friend visit us in the booth here.
Good to see him. Huh?
My mentor, when I first got into this business, a guy who I pretty much owe everything to, Mr. Bob Chandler.
Yeah,
Bob worked in radio for many, many years.
There he is.
There's Bob. Give us a wave, Bob.
Yeah, I've known Bob for 50 years.
Give us a wave.
He hasn't changed at all. He hasn't aged at all. He looks the same as he did 50 years ago. Old.
Bullet Bob Chandler.
Hubba hubba.
Love that guy.
2 outs to Travis Jankowski. He grounded to second his first time. And people say, what are you going to miss, Enberg, when you leave the broadcast booth? And there are a lot of things, but the partnership with the broadcasting buddies going through the years, you and Mark Sweeney here and Tony Gwynn in San Diego and all the way back in baseball to Drysdale and so many others. I miss that.
There's nothing like it, is there, Dave?
I'm going to have to get on the, that Twitter and text and all that, so I can be listening to you and go after you. Hey,
you're always welcome.
Okay. Give you a little, bits of humor.
Sure.
Shake you up a little bit. 1-2 misses. Samardzija has allowed only 1 hit. Hunter Renfroe's single through the hole on the left side. Tony Gwynn's hole on the left side, we might add. And a strikeout for Samardzija, his second of the game, as the Padres go in order. After 3, no score.
as we head to the top of the fourth. And I am here with one very proud papa. Your son, Carlos Asuaje, he wins the PCL Rookie of the Year award. He then helps his team to win the PCL championship title. And here tonight, he is making his first major league start. Joel Asuaje, you have to be very proud of your son.
Oh, yeah, very proud. We're excited to be here with him, spending some time, giving a lot of excitement to it with my family, my wife, my daughter. I mean, we live a long way from here. We live in South Florida. And our daughter, she studies in Boston University. And she came over, too, to spend some time with us, I mean, as a family.
You all flew in from Miami today. You got in today. You're here for the entire 4-game set. What's sort of going through your mind as you're looking down the line here, second base, and there's your son? I know you have a connection with second base because you played second base in college.
Yeah, I did play second base all my life. And that's what I told my kid to play, either shortstop, even though he played shortstop all his life until he went to Nova Southeastern University, and then he transferred from shortstop to second base. And, well, since then he's been doing well, and he got his legacy from his dad.
Of course he did. Since you talk about legacy, what was a word of advice that you gave him as he was growing up playing this game?
Well, believe it or not, I mean, if you can see right here, that's a telephone that I've been giving still advice since he got drafted in 2013. And I'm giving advice every single day, every single night after every game. And I've been coaching my son since he was 3 years old. So he's 24 and still I'm coaching him.
And I'm sure you'll have many wonderful words for him after tonight's game. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you enjoy the game, and you're taking lots of photos as well.
Oh, definitely. I have to take some photos of him. Because, I mean, we got some people around the world, believe it or not. We got family in Canada, in Germany, Spain, Venezuela, Colombia, and a bunch of friends back there, I mean, South Florida. They all want to have a picture from us.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'll be happy to share it with them. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Guys?
All right, thank you, Julie. Look it up in the dictionary, proud papa, and you'll see his face, huh? Well, that was a near home run off the bat of Gorky's Hernandez after Pence has grounded to short. He rattled one off the left field boards, and Jankowski made a strong throw to second, but just offline, they might have gotten Hernandez trying to get to second base. That's the first hit allowed by Christian Friedrich. Brandon Belt, the batter, and the count 1-0. Breaking ball does not, and here's the pinch hitter deluxe nonpareil, Mark Sweeney.
I love your tie tonight.
Why?
Solid.
It's not Notre Dame colors.
No, it's not Notre Dame. Go Irish. But no, it's USC, unfortunately, and I still like it.
Well, it could be Kansas City Chiefs, could be Florida State.
Yeah, I'm not going to put that on you at USC, but
What do you like in mine?
That's more Irish there.
It's green.
I know, I like it.
There's a ball held well to left center, and back goes Jankowski. Got room. Tagging but holding is Hernandez. The Giants have hit some balls to the warning path tonight. Fortunately, Jankowski has chased a couple of those down.
Under it just a little bit too much, staying in the yard, keeping that runner at second base.
And that'll bring up A-Ray Adrianza. He struck out looking first time. Again, we told you the runners in scoring position statistic on the Giants has really been painful. 1 for 17 in the Dodger series. 13 for 67 in the last 10 games. That's hitting only 194 with a chance to score a man from second or third.
Yeah, when you're talking about those numbers too, it really comes down to the process and your mentality in those situations. Are you thinking the right way? Or are you getting out of yourself and trying to go out and hit the home run? Because in runners in scoring position, really it's a process in what that pitcher is trying to do, and you use the big part of the field.
So you're the hitter up there. Where are you looking now? Where should you be trying to hit the ball?
Well, there's so many shifts in the game, and that changes things, but there's a lot of space in the center of the diamond.
And he hits one on one hop to the second baseman, Asuaje. Should have made that play while Papa was talking with Julie. That's it for the Giants in the fourth. 3.5 innings, no score here at Petco. Tonight's cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. And they are cold and they are hard when you talk about major league leaders. Most losses when leading after 8 innings. The Giants leading the way with 9. That's 9 wins in their grasp, 9 getting away from Bruce Bochy's team.
That's got to drive a manager crazy, and I'll tell you, it drives Bruce Bochy crazy because I think that's where his strength comes as a manager, is providing good scenarios for the bullpen and knowing what he's going to do with his guys down there, putting them in good scenarios. And you've seen it for years. Obviously, it helps to have your closer, but those guys have to fill in. They have to know what type of spots that they have.
Manny Margot steps up. He grounded to third his first time, looking for his first big league hit, and takes it on the outside edge. 0-2. Well, it just points out the value of having that terrific closer.
Yep.
And the Padres have been so fortunate through the years to have that man. Strike 3 as Samardzija painting the outside edge. And here are some examples of those September losses, wins getting away. At Chicago, lead 2-1, lose 3-2. Colorado, they had a 2-run lead, lose that one in the 9th against the Padres. That was the Ryan Shim 3-run homer up at AT&T. 2-1 edge against the Cardinals and losing, and so forth and so on. Not good.
Yeah, 3 of those 5 games were 1-run games, and if you're going to be successful, especially in this division, and also moving on, you have to be able to win those 1-run games, and it's imperative to do that.
Yeah, and if you don't have the continuity of your closer going each and every time, and he kind of falters, well, you know, we've seen many times where teams have a 7th inning or an 8th inning guy that can take over that role. It just doesn't seem to really stick for the Giants when you look at those stats, and that's frustrating.
Bill Myers hit a shot, but right at the third baseman his first time. He's working on a 10-game hitting streak. And Samardzija painting that outside corner. 0-2.
Well, they've got some really good arms down in that bullpen.
Well, the talent's there. We all know it. I mean, we've watched it. We've seen them be successful this year. It's a matter of doing it now. And now the focus is shifted on them, which is tough to take. At times, you're constantly talked about. The questions are out there. You're reading in the newspaper. You hear about it. Your friends are telling you. They just need to change that up, because this team is very talented, and we've seen them in years past really go on some special runs.
Well, you know, the long story is the even years. They've won the World Series 2010, 2012, 2014, and so the expectations here in 16. And San Francisco fans excited by their great record the first half of the season. It looked like they were on an easy railroad ride into the playoffs again, but then it's all fallen apart since.
Hey, let's take this into consideration. The success of the Giants, all those 3 championships, you're playing late into the year.
Yeah.
And, you know, 3 out of 5, that takes a lot out of guys.
Definitely.
Another called third strike, and boy, Samardzija hitting that corner at the knees.
That is a nasty 2-seamer. That's a lane changer. Mark Sweeney, see that 2-seamer?
Yeah, it starts off the plate, comes right back. See Buster Posey sticking it on the outside part. But good command and good movement. That's the reason why you'll freeze as a hitter. You're looking for something else.
Third straight strikeout from Samardzija. 2 gone now in the 4th. You got Jankowski to close out the last inning, and now Margot and Myers here in the 4th. And Shimp, he fouled out to third his first time up. Well, the Giants are playing scoreboard. St. Louis is idle. The 3 teams tied now for the wild card National League. The other is the New York Mets, who were behind Philadelphia a couple of runs, but have tied it up and sent it into extra innings in New York. Change up. 1-1.
Samardzija going back-to-back combos on Shimp.
Phils and the Mets are even at 6-all in the 11th inning in New York. And then he comes back with a breaking ball. 2-1. Only 1 hit on each side. Hernandez double top half of this inning, and Renfroe single First major league hit in the second for the Padres. Excuse me, foul ball, 2-2 as we check on Sony. Yeah, you know about Sony. That's the leader of 4K Ultra HD.
I know about it.
Yeah, you got to appreciate it, huh?
I love it.
You can turn down the sound, but you still got what really counts, that good picture. Only kidding, fans. Full count now to Shim. 96 from Samardzija. Couple of collegians here. Notre Dame on the mound. LSU at the plate.
Oh, Irish. Oh, please. You had to sneak that one in there, didn't you?
You've already
You didn't
used
hear
two.
it, did you?
You
hear
used
it?
two. You used two.
I
You can't
know.
go again.
I
That's
can't.
like strike three.
Yep.
Wow. And that is strike three. As Samardzija strikes out the side, all three batters, Marco, Myers, Shim, looking. Side as we've completed four pitchers duel so far between Christian Friedrich of the Padres and Jeff Samardzija of the Giants. Rookie comparison. Gary Sanchez, the rookie with the Yankees this year, and Willie McCovey stretched back in 1959, the National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you think about the impact that you have to have, and Gary Sanchez has had that in 43 games coming into tonight. 19 home runs. Wow. He continues to put on a show, and he is in the conversation for Rookie of the Year for obvious reasons.
Nothing from Sanchez tonight. Excuse me. Tampa Bay beat the Yankees 2-0.
Yeah, and how about putting up those type of numbers in crunch time? This is not a last place team. I mean, this is a team in the hunt to try to make the playoffs.
Yeah, coming into tonight, 2.5. So that goes to 3 at least tonight.
Joe Panik leads it off for the Giants here in the top of the 5th. Then Samardzija and leadoff hitter Nunez. John Jay High School in New York is where Joe Panik went to high school, and then over to St. John's University for his collegiate action. That's a strike. 2-1.
The Federalist, John Jay. Sorry about knowing history.
Well rounded.
Out of play. I've never heard the expression well squared.
No. Well squared does not work.
Well rounded. That kind of is appropriate terminology.
It's twofold for me.
How do you figure?
Between the ears and above the belt. Not so much between the ears, though.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Back through the middle. Sardinius ranging behind the bag to throw him out. Well, we aren't just going to talk about those two. Here are some other candidates for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you see Michael Fulmer, and I think he is the favorite going into this. And in his games, they are 17-7 when he starts. And you think about, as a rookie, the impact that he's had on the Detroit Tigers. I think he is the favorite right now. Gary Sanchez slides in there, and the other two have been very talented. Flashes of some really good talent.
Nomar Mazara, you don't hear his name. He's got 20 home runs for the Rangers.
Yeah, and he started off like a house on fire, and then they had to back him off just a little bit and platoon down with the Texas Rangers. But another talented young hitter.
Well, Samardzija had a chance to help himself in the second inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and he struck out.
Yeah.
A little Rochambeau going on there.
Two and one the count.
Now, when it comes down to the voting for those players we just talked about, are they going to consider they should give it to the everyday player guy or give it to the guy who gets the ball once every 5 days? That's the interesting part of it. Right?
It is, and especially with a rookie.
Ryan Schimpf with his 19 home runs, but he doesn't have the batting average to match with those that we've seen on that list, but he's had a great rookie year.
Well, I think you made a good point, Mark, with the impact of Gary Sanchez and that few of games, but they've done really well.
Strike out for Friedrich. He gets his counterpart Samardzija 5 punch outs. And we go to the top of the order, and Nunez. Eduardo is grounded to third and a long out to left.
Well, with the exception of that second inning with the 3 walks, he also struck out 3. Christian Friedrich pitching pretty darn well, finding a little bit of a groove here in the 5th.
I was checking the calendar today. I like to count the dates and that sort of thing.
Right.
Do you realize there's only 100 days left for the end of the year?
Really?
And do you know what else about this day, the 22nd of September?
First day of fall?
Yeah, happy autumn.
Hey, happy autumn.
I love the fall.
Way up there in lit fall, yes. Right there into the glove of Ryan Schimpf. Another 1-2-3 inning for Christian Friedrich. We got a beauty going here at Petco.
I hunt a lot. Hunt, fish, and just hang out with my family and cook and eat.
You're a cook?
Yes.
What's the main thing you like to cook?
I love steak and baked potatoes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's my favorite. That's what I like, so that's what I like to do.
And then what do you like to hunt?
Deer.
Really? And do you have property down there? Do you have some friends down there?
Yeah, we have property, and my wife's family has a good bit of land, so we go out there and hunt and do kind of hang out.
Well, Hunter Renfroe hunts that fastball and drives it to center field for a base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Early on, down by the label, you see that bat just wiggle, but Samardzija wants to bury it inside, and it catches the inner third, right back where it came from.
Well,
fight it off.
No need to wait. No need to wait.
I know. I get choked up talking about it too.
It's unbelievable how
exciting.
choked up you get. It's excitement in your voice.
That brings up Carlos Aswaye, and he squares and takes strike one. I like that answer from Renfroe. Now, all the answers are nice and short and brief, aren't they? I mean, he's not going to overtalk you. And he likes that good old steak and potatoes.
He likes steak and potatoes.
I would love to go through the buffet line with that kid.
Well, let's hope he can eat up Major League pitching. No score. Padres got the leadoff man on. That's the first time tonight either team has gotten the first man aboard.
When you think of Hunter Renfroe and what he's doing, that leg kick just sets him right. But I love the balance. See him staying behind that baseball. And the aggressiveness on the fastball. He saw the strikeouts last inning and adapting that aggressive style. Talked to Alan Zinter before the game. He said, I want to see these young guys go out there and be aggressive. I have the ability to pull them back, but I don't want them to be passive at this level, especially for the amount of games that they're going to get to play.
There's the coach, Zinter, tireless, and he's got his new pupils and going to work with them immediately. Aswahe flied to center his first time. He's got a quick bat. And he hits that one well to right field, but Pence right there, a couple of steps back. Yeah, that was hit hard. One away.
Hey guys, I know this is the middle of the ball game, but it seems to me that Jeff Samardzija is really trying to make his presence to these young kids in. Hunter Renfroe in. We just saw Aswahe in.
Austin Hedges, the catcher, struck out swinging the first time.
The challenges that you have as your first time at the big league level is emotion. And you see when you throw in, you get a little bit bigger at times. Not Aswahe, you could see him shorten up to the baseball with 2 strikes. And that's a good sign. But you have to deal with emotions as a young hitter in the batter's box.
First pitch strike to Hedges.
Remember the first few pitches to Hedges the first time up was bang, bang, bang inside, trying to tie him up.
— 21 home runs at El Paso and 82 runs batted in. 20 doubles as well for Austin. Renfroe not a serious threat to run. He had just a handful of steals with the Chihuahuas. But he was the big dog there now. 30 home runs.
That's what he's here for.
I like the pun. Yeah, it's a big Chihuahua.
Is there a big Chihuahua?
Well, he was. 1-1 to Hedges. And I'm anxious to see him make a first serious throw from right field. But he's got maybe the best arm of any outfielder in the system. They're talking about projecting the color of the uniforms next year. The rumor is there won't be yellow as part of the color pattern. You know what I'm hoping for? I think you know Mark Grant.
What's that?
A little red, and where the yellow is, red piping.
That would be nice.
You know, I do like those old PCL uniforms.
I do too.
The Padres script with the maroon and the dark navy. I do like those unis.
I do.
And they're going to keep the traditional brown and gold for Fridays and other big dates.
Yeah, and I think that's important as well. A lot of people that want to go that brown route, but I think that is really identifiable on Friday nights.
And traveling around the country, you see a lot of fans who came out for the All-Star game, and those the merchandise went right off the rack in a hurry. The fans buying those brown and gold.
Samardzija heavy on the fastball and the slider. Change-up coming in third place there on that repertoire list.
Still alive, Hedges, 1-2.
Now you've seen Samardzija make some mistakes with the fastball. That's a good sign for the Padres now. To your point, Mark, he likes to pound in, but he also makes those mistakes.
Yeah, he's given up 24 home runs this year in his 30 starts. Breaking ball, and it drops low. Did not go, says Mike Winters, the crew chief. Efficient night. A couple of innings in the single digits for Samardzija. Timeout, no pitch. Bruce Bochy continues to rack up the wins as a major league manager. Going to be on the all-time lists. Oh, that's in there. Fooled him with a curveball. 6 strikeouts for Samardzija. 4 of them called third strikes.
What big deal curveball, huh, Mark Sweeney?
Yeah, 2-2 curveball. We saw him not locating the fastball as well, but he still has some weapons to go to for the strikeout.
So 2 outs. Renfroe still at first base for Luis Sardinas. He flied to left field his first time. There goes Renfroe, and the ball is fouled out of play. Now Matt Green plays a little hit and run.
I think Andy Green identifies this time of the game settling in is Jeff Samardzija into his start. As you said, Dick, very efficient, but you're going to have to take some chances against the talent of Jeff Samardzija.
Yeah, he's throwing strikes. He's around the plate.
Breaking ball and way out in front, Sardinas 0-2. Hitting .320 from the left side, 8 for 25.
Well, Samardzija in the first pitch strike category, 15 of 17 tonight. Like any pitcher's chances when they've got that type of ratio.
Up high with the fastball, Sardinas wouldn't bite. Christian Friedrich is on deck. Friedrich with 5 innings of shutout ball, only 1 hit. Padres have just 2 hits against Samardzija, both by Renfroe.
Throw over. Short lead. Oh, by the way, I was talking to the grounds crew today, Matt Balow.
Yeah, big fan.
From the this side of the bag right here, the foul line, to the cutout, it's 14.5 feet. It just gives you a little perspective on how big of a lead that runner's got.
Smothered.
I meant to put 14.6, by the way.
Really?
I put 14.5.
Well, why didn't you put 14.6?
Well, I know, because there's 6 inches and half a foot. Right? So I was wrong. I stand corrected. I don't want to mess up the kids studying for that math quiz.
Yeah, you're well rounded. We don't want to mess
We've
them
already
6
found
inches.
that out.
14.5 feet, yeah. So I was wrong.
Yeah, but you corrected it, so you're right. Runner goes, and another foul away. Renfroe getting in his road work.
But you know, if that right foot towards second base is out by that corner, that cutout, it gives you a good indication. That's you know, that's a pretty big lead.
Yeah, you want aggressive leads, especially from your base stealers.
And I'm anxious to see Margot aboard and see what kind of lead he takes.
You know, guys that don't run a lot, and when they want and they know they have the stolen base sign, they'll actually take a shorter lead at times, so they don't want to give that pitcher a look that they're going.
And he gets him swinging. 7 strikeouts. Jeff Samardzija. 5 innings, no score. victoryinsurance.com today. The Giants, the Padres, first of a 4-game weekend series. Hispanic Heritage Weekend here at Petco Park. And after 5 innings, just 3 base hits, a double by Gorkys Hernandez in the 4th inning for the Giants, and a couple of singles by rookie Hunter Renfroe in his major league debut as a starter for the Padres. Pagan, Posey, and Pence, the 3 Ps in the lineup here in the top of the 6th, and the first pitch in there for a strike. As you've seen on the crawler, the football scores tonight. Mike Pomerantz's alma mater, Clemson, beats Georgia Tech 26-7. The Tigers of Clemson are ranked 5th in the nation here.
Playing nice ball.
How to get Pomerantz to sing their fight song once. And caught looking is Pagan, and 6 strikeouts now for Friedrich.
Well, time now for the tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Mentioned it earlier, Austin Hedges behind the dish in the squat and framing pitches. Look at how his glove pretty much stays pretty still and sticks that breaking ball. He holds on here on the foul tip. So he's working the edges, framing very well. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, you think about Austin Hedges and what he does, gets that, especially on the low part of the strike zone, and watch this the rest of the game. He gets that thumb underneath. And the good catchers can really stick it on the bottom part of that strike zone.
Posey is flied out and struck out, bounces this to short. Sardinius there, feeds it across, 2 away. You know, the other thing I've noticed about Hedges, he locks his head on the ball. He doesn't move his head as he catches the ball. He goes right to the ball, so that umpire gets a good look at it.
He does. He gives a good look to the umpire, and that's a really good trait from a catcher's perspective, but also the manipulation of his body and giving that framed look of strikes. That's where he specializes in a lot of good approaches to getting that borderline strike.
Hunter Pence, the cleanup hitter. Hit well to right center, a long run for Margot. He's there. Another 1-2-3 inning. Friedrich pitching a 1-hit beauty. A greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. MLB News and Notes. Brian Dozier sets an American League record with 40 home runs as the second baseman. Twins lose to Detroit. Hanley Ramirez, has he been hot? Another home run, 29, 10 this month for the Red Sox. Carlos Santana 2 for 3 and a home run for the Indians in their win. Nothing but zeros on the board here at Petco Park as we go to the last of the 6th inning. Friedrich and then the top of the order, Jankowski and Margot for the Padres. Grounded to short his first time. Friedrich, watch out, late swing, foul ball. That was really late. Another football score tonight. The Patriots beat the Texans 27-0. You think Bill Belichick can't coach? Now he takes a third-string quarterback, a rookie who's never been in the NFL, and they beat the Texans 27-0.
Wow. Are you a fantasy football guy, Mark Sweeney?
Oh, what a question.
Really? How about you, Dick?
No, I don't have time.
You don't have time?
No.
The Red Zone channel has changed my life.
It's a life changer?
It's a life changer.
Really?
Yeah.
You have seen the light.
1-2 in the dirt, 2-2. You know, something that kind of bothers me about the fantasy stuff is that young players start to root for individuals and not teams. And I think there's a magic about having a team to root for. And you can do both. I know you do both.
I want Andrew Luck to be really good this week.
Oh, well,
I really want him to be good this week, and it's against the Chargers.
Yeah.
So it's.
Let's see.
You got to be careful.
You're torn by this whole experience.
I love the Sea Chickens.
Oh, I know you do. Woo. They're scuffling right now, aren't they?
Don't worry about it. Still early.
How's the Irish doing?
They're struggling a little bit. Go Irish.
Full count.
Oh, I said it
Full
3
count.
times.
He struck out. Chopper back to Samardzija. Former Notre Dame football star throws it away. And safe is Friedrich. Well, he was a receiver at Notre Dame, not a thrower, a passer. So off the mark, he's thrown nothing but strikes to home plate, and he fires that one wide to Brandon Belt.
Looks like he had plenty of time. He just yanks that one, and Jeff knows that he yanked that one.
And that's a rare error by the Giants. They have the best fielding percentage in all of baseball.
Well, that's huge because it gives so many options to Travis Jankowski.
Yep.
And the frustration of Bruce Bochy. Travis can lay a bunt down here. Can possibly hit and run. There's a lot of options.
Nunez creeping in at third. There's the square and a take inside.
You got to watch out for the throw behind the runner at first base, especially with the pitcher out there. You know, you take your secondary lead, and if the ball is not in play, then you got to bust it back to the bag.
The other play, Brandon Belt fakes like he's charging and hoping Friedrich takes another extra step and then hustles back and a quick throw to first. Fouled on the bunt try.
Well, Mark Sweeney, we talked about the two-seam fastball. That's the lane changer to the right. He's starting off the plate, catching the outside corner, frozen pizza. Same thing to Will Myers. That's really tough to do something with. And then the left-hander, Mark, you being a left-handed hitter, you probably saw that a lot where guys tried to bring that in and catch the inside corner.
Yeah, because especially when he goes the slider, and he's shown that slider early in the game to the left-handers. But that glove side two-seamer has been very successful tonight.
Line drive foul as Jankowski trying to punch it past the drawn in third baseman Nunez. You know, 15 years ago, we didn't talk about the two-seamer. You know, the action of that ball, kind of a screwball action, but the screwball actually was a reverse curveball. And to get that much movement on a fastball, it's amazing.
With velocity, and that's a scary thing this day and age.
Crowds him 2-2. Oh, Padres a chance. A door opened on a throwing error by Samardzija.
Well, the sequencing has been very good tonight for Buster Posey and Jeff Samardzija because they're not on something that's specific, something that you're looking for. There's a lot of pitches he's been able to throw in different counts.
And he misses again, top of the zone, close, but no call from Muchlinski. So a full count. Margot on deck.
A 3-2 count. Let's see if Christian Friedrich is out on the run and have Jankowski be able to protect him with the swing.
Foul back. Good at bat for Jankowski, and we remind you as we look from down into beautiful Petco Park, this rooftop shot brought to you by Pinnacle on the Park. Again, the 3-2 pitch.
Set the fastball in.
Ground ball by Belt into right field. Friedrich turns, but he's not a runner. He's going to stay there at second base. Move up 90. Jankowski with a good at bat. Fouled off a couple of pitches and finds the hole on the right side.
That's a battle, Mark Sweeney. There's the two-seamer you're talking about. Fights it off nicely.
Really good job, and he gets himself in a position where he can look for that fastball and react in. See Travis go the other way so well, and then when you pull your hands in and having that hole exposed with a runner at first, even with Belt off the base, that's nice hitting.
Friedrich running out of desperation. That ball almost hit him. So the Padres had the first 2 men on here in the bottom of the 6th inning. First occurrence of this significance in the entire game for either side. Brings up Manny Margot, the 21-year-old outfielder acquired in the trade with the Red Sox. Just to review that, Craig Kimbrell going to Boston last November, and the Padres got Javier Guerra, a talented shortstop, had a rough year at Lake Elsinore. Asuaje, who's playing tonight, left-handed pitcher Logan Allen, and Margot. He is grounded out and struck out. See if he's going to bunt. They're playing for the sacrifice. He's swinging. Ball 1.
A little abbreviated pitch out, it looked like.
304 is average at El Paso with 21 doubles and 12 triples, half dozen home runs. Line drive hitter. Good numbers with men in scoring position, huh? 345. Pops it up. Infield fly rule. And the shortstop Adrianza takes care of it, so 1 away. Will Myers hit it hard the first time, but to the third baseman and took a third strike in the 4th. Padre leader in home runs, 27 now, and RBIs 88. And along with his 10-game hitting streak, he now has knocked in more runs here at Petco than any Padre. 53. Chase Headley had 51. So it has been a good season for Will Myers. Ooh, nice cut. High limb. Friedrich, long inning for him on the bases, out at second. Jankowski will run right up his back if Myers gets into one. That'll be fouled deep down the right field line. After Myers, Ryan Schimpf.
I think Myers, that last pitch, had the slider on his mind. Wanted to let that travel just a little bit, and he fired on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
No score here at Petco with 1 out in the home half of the 6th inning. Samardzija dueling Christian Friedrich. Another late swing. Deposits that in the upper deck.
Mark Sweeney, I say this about 3 times a year. How you hitters did it just baffles my mind. Samardzija throwing 96, 97. And I know, granted, the Padres have 3 hits tonight. But still, 97 with movement. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, I hadn't figured it out either, obviously.
And then he comes back with that wicked curveball. And how do you get ready for that if you're trying to set up for the fastball?
There's so many things to talk about too, because if you think about Will Meyer's second half, he has gone through struggles, but he hasn't had the same protection he had in the first half as well. There's so many factors into that. But when you think about talent and having 2 strikes, 97 up at your letters, and being able to foul it off, it gives you another opportunity, and hopefully you get that mistake with 2 strikes on you.
Another high foul out in front. That's way up there.
That's the way Joe Carter used to hit him back at Qualcomm. You talk about a guy turning on a fastball and fouling it up that way. Wow.
Turn him around. Hit that one in fair territory.
Yeah.
And we'll all stand and cheer. Still 0-2.
He wants this one down. Buster Posey saying down, down.
.96 again inside.
Well, that's a waste fastball too, right there with 2 strikes. Trying to change the eye level is so important when you think about pitchers, but you have to lock it in as a hitter. Well, you got 2 strikes. Everything is predicated off the fastball because of the velocity of Samardzija.
And then he goes to the slider and gets another strikeout, his 8th of the game. Myers striking out twice tonight.
Well, you think about the breaking ball, and it was set up because of that fastball down and in the previous pitch. Just speeds you up just enough. You have that fastball in the back of your mind, and you're exposed to the breaking ball.
So it's Ryan Schimpf with runners at first and second. Fouled out to third and took a 3rd strike.
Boy, I tell you what, Samardzija's broken out the curveball a little later in this Fuego, huh?
Yeah, and the last at bat against Ryan Schimpf was 2 changeups to start off his last at bat. And he goes with the breaking ball.
And quickly ahead, 2 strikes to Schimpf.
He's got Ryan guessing right now. He's shown every weapon tonight on both sides of the plate.
He wants something up. Buster Posey motioned up in the zone.
Way up. At 95. Schimpf still the remarkable statistics this year: 19 homers, 17 singles.
Unbelievable.
And another strikeout. Samardzija has punched out 9 Padres. They leave 2 here in the 6th. No score. Summary, Hunter Renfroe, first major league at bat, singles through the hole on the left side. Not many hits in the game tonight. It's been all pitching. Christian Friedrich allowing just one hit, a double to Gorkys Hernandez, while striking out 6 batters using a variety of breaking pitches. And Jeff Samardzija of the Giants, that two-seamer has been beautiful for him. 9 strikeouts in 6 innings for Samardzija.
Yeah, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel going on here at Petco Park.
3 hits allowed by Samardzija, all singles. Only 1 hit allowed by Friedrich, a double. Top of the 7th, it'll be Hernandez, who has that 2-base hit. Then Belt and Adrianza.
Christian Friedrich is in a groove.
You talk about things not going your way with the Giants here the second half of the season. The Phillies had a 2-run lead against the Mets, and the Mets scored 2 in the 9th to tie, and they go extra innings. And the Phillies scored 2 runs in the 12th inning to take the lead, and the Mets scored 3 and beat them. And of course, they're battling for that wild card spot.
And Steven Matz going down, we learned today, of the New York Mets. He's shut down for the year, so they're going to have to fill that spot in the rotation for the Mets.
Well, they won the game 9-8 in New York in extras. 2 strikes on Hernandez, who's walked and doubled. Backs him off the plate. That's a good purpose pitch.
Absolutely. Make him do the limbo a little bit. Now, the beauty of that pitch is you can go back inside for a strike. You can go soft away. You can go breaking ball down and in.
Target inside. And a broken bat. 1 hopper to Schimpf, well off the line to throw him out. You know, defensively, that may just be Brian Schimpf's spot, third base.
Hey, the most popular way to follow Padres baseball is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, game day scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat on your favorite devices now.
Oh, I like that. Really kind of a sexy voice tonight.
Thank you. But Christian Friedrich doubled up with the fastball. Did you see that, Dick? Broke his bat, got in his kitchen.
Brandon Belt takes a breaking ball for a strike. He's walked and sent it long out to left. Chased Jankowski to the warning track. Another fly ball toward left. Into the corner goes Jankowski. And in fair territory makes the grab.
Christian Friedrich is twirling a gem.
10 in a row retired by Friedrich. That'll bring up A-Ray Adrianza, the shortstop. He struck out and grounded to second. Second baseman. And Suarez throws him out. Another 1-2-3 inning. 11 in a row retired by Friedrich. Sports game break. You think Chase Utley knows the dimensions of the field? Look at this play. Unbelievable. Bobbles it and blindly flips it to Adrian Gonzalez. There's a guy that knows exactly where every base is. But the Rockies are in front 4-1 against the Dodgers. And we go to Hunter Renfroe, who has opened his major league career with a pair of singles. Grounded sharply through the hole on the left side and a line drive to center field his last time up. And this one a two-hopper had to panic, and there's the first out of the 7th. Time now for the Bill Howe plays of the game. Let's go right back to Hunter Renfroe's 2 base hits. And both hit smartly. There's number 1. And he goes up the middle with his second.
Really doing a good job of staying on that first hit. That was a little breaky ball from Samardzija, and then fighting off the fastball to the center of the diamond.
That brings up Carlos Suaje, looking for his first major league hit. He's flied out twice. Hit the ball hard the last time, lined it out to right fielder Pence. One and one. Samardzija using 89 pitches to get into the 7th inning with 1 out. He's gone over 100 many a time. Change up way out in front, 1-2. Well, these youngsters brought up from El Paso are seeing a major league pitcher on the hill tonight. Variety of pitches and great control. That one just missed. Could have been called strike 3.
Yeah, a couple of good changeups this inning by Jeff Samardzija. Actually, he kind of holds it like a split grip.
Yeah,
in fact, he's holding it like that right now. Then he will adjust accordingly in his glove.
Yeah, with a last name like Samardzija, you grow up, you've got to be broad-shouldered. You got to work in the weight room to get room to get your name on your back. Just got a piece.
Got a piece of Buster Posey as well on that foul tip. It's a changeup, split finger. Just above the elbow.
No padding there. The catchers, the beating they take.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put together all the foul tips a guy like Posey takes in the course of a year, I mean, it just been put on tape back to back to back to back. It'd be like a 10-round fight getting hit every 3 seconds. That one inside. So Carlos Suaje has worked the count full here with 1 out in the 7th. .24 pitches, 95 miles an hour or more. And another chance for panic at second. 2 away. Well, let's check our Cholula flamethrower tonight.
Well, Jeff Samardzija, he's been above 95. He's touched 96. And that's hot sauce with movement, mind you. We got ourselves a pitcher's duel tonight. Jeff Samardzija's got the 2-seamer with movement. Christian Friedrich has the location of the fastball and the big breaking ball working for him.
Well, scratch out 1 run tonight might be enough to win it.
How about a home run right here off the bat of Austin Hedges?
That sounds good. He struck out his first 2 times.
Oh,
there's the breaking ball, and he had to bow to that one.
Looked like a hanger, too.
25,789 here tonight. And bigger crowds expected over the weekend. 1-1 tomorrow night. Edwin Jackson goes against Albert Suarez. Saturday night, Jared Cosart and Mad Bum Madison Bumgarner. 14-game winner for the Giants, and then Clayton Richard on Sunday. That would have been Johnny Cueto's spot, but he apparently isn't going to pitch. Swinging bunt foul. Mad Bum is such a good nickname, borrowing the first 3 letters of his name, Madison Bumgarner, because he always pitches mad. Of course, the bum part doesn't work, but it seems like he pitches like he wants to start a fight.
Yeah.
Ask Will Myers. Ask Yasiel Puig. That's another good curveball. Top of the zone. 2-2.
There he is.
Don't look at. He's like a bear. You're not supposed to stare at him. Don't look at him. I'll tell you when it's safe. Okay, he's gone.
All right. Okay, good. Hey,
nope, he's back. Oh, he just missed that. Way up into the night. And that's going to drop into the seats. Well, here's the case in point with Puig. He bounces one toward first base, and Bumgarner throws him out and then stares him down. And it seemed to be encouraging action, and here's what happens.
Next thing you know, a Jerry Springer show breaks out. A lot of strong men in that scrum right there.
There is. That ball drilled to center field. That's a solid base hit by Austin Hedges. Welcome back, Mr. Hedges. 4th hit for the Padres.
You know, one of the few pitches from Samardzija that kind of flattens out a little bit. It's a 2-seamer and it's up. He wanted to bury that one inside, and Austin turns it around very nicely. Oh, look at the bat traveling through that hitting area, and that bat does not even flinch. That is right on the sweet spot. You know, we have the luxury from that slow motion camera to see the ball or the bat kind of wiggle a little bit when you don't hit the sweet spot. The bat didn't even move.
Well, 3 of the 4 hits from players called up from El Paso, 2 for Renfroe, 1 for Hedges. Here's Luis Sardinas. Flips it back on the screen. 101 tosses now for Samardzija. He scattered the 4 hits in 4 different innings. Off speed, misses. Padre pen is active. Little motion out in the Giants bullpen, but no one throwing. Brad Hand is the Padre getting loose. One and one. There's the left-hander, one of the leaders in strikeouts from the pen, over 100.
Two-seamer in.
Foul back.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Tuck in a happy birthday to Tommy Lasorda. He's 89.
Nice.
And NBA Commissioner David Stern is 74 today. 2 balls, 2 strikes, Sardinas. Runner goes. Pitch is high. The throw by Posey is in time. Tag made on the back of Hedges was by the infielder, but Posey has that art of keeping the ball on the first base side of the bag where the infielder can tag. Well, they actually got him on the front side. That's it for the Padres.
And the Padres had their chances. For instance, in the sixth, 2 on, nobody out.
Yeah, first and second, and you get that pop-up, which you were thinking about possibly a bunt scenario. Down goes Myers, down goes Ryan Schimpf for the second time of the night. Jeff Samardzija, 105 pitches to this point. You wonder if he's going to go further. If not, you got to attack the bullpen.
Scoreless here in the top of the 8th inning. Mark and I are working on Padres Live, the post-game show, which will be brought to you by Cox Communications. Hopefully we get a nice Padres win to talk about. As Mark pointed out, got to get into that bullpen. Hopefully that happens immediately. And also on the post-game show, Dick, I don't want to embarrass you here, but I'll throw this over to Mark Grant. We've got a phenomenal retrospective on your career coming up that'll follow us immediately, but we're going to show a clip of it on the post-game show, some of the stories that are the most meaningful of your career. So we're looking forward to seeing that after the final out.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I don't know how you're going to squeeze 60 years into a
we
couple
can do
of
it.
clips. Oh, you can do that?
We can do it.
Just squeeze it. Just use a couple of words here and a couple of words there. And, well, it's been a privileged career, and they've done. Tom Catlin's done a fabulous job of going through a lot of my photos and film that he could locate, and interviews with people like you that have said some nice things about me.
Tommy does a great job, and Professor, it's been a slice of heaven. Having you aboard.
Deep drive. Joe Panic to right field. Back goes Renfroe, and he can't get it. And that ball is bouncing in for a ground rule double. Close to a home run for Panic, and that's the first time tonight the Giants have had the leadoff man on.
Four-seam fastball. He wants it away, and Joe Panic does a nice job of getting to that one. It's inner third and up a little bit. Now the race is on for Hunter Renfroe, and maybe he felt that wall. Did he?
Yeah.
I think he kind of drew a little leather on that, huh? Yes, he did off the end. Maybe he felt that wall kind of creeping up on him a little bit.
Yeah, he'll get better at playing that ball, and he realizes that's a ball that he's got to catch if he's going to play right field.
Unfamiliar with the surroundings out there in the right center field gap.
A lot different in El Paso in that right field. That ball does come up in a hurry there. Very short right field. All right. Jeff Samardzija is pulled, and Kelby Tomlinson is the pinch hitter. Let's see if he's up there to sacrifice. Yes. And it's a good, no, not a good bunt. It kicks foul. Only the second hit of Christian Friedrich. Time for our In the Driver's Seat, brought to you by Kia. And in his best outing as a San Diego Padre, Christian Friedrich threw 7 innings, a 1-hit shutout, now giving up his second hit. 6 strikeouts and 3 walks. The walks were all in the second inning when he struck out 3 as well. Will be spectacled Kelby Tomlinson. The Clark Kent of the Giants, and he swings and misses as they take off the bunt, and he tries to punch one through the drawn in infield. Two strikes on the pinch hitter. Top of the order to follow. Myers backs off a bit at first base. Schimpf stays bag high at third. Now he backs up a couple of steps, and he ground ball by him into left field. Charging the ball is Jankowski, and holding at third is Panic. So first and third now for the Giants here in the 8th. Giants with only one hit through 7 get back-to-back hits here in the 8th.
Well, nothing you can do there. It's a breaking ball to Tomlinson. He chokes up. Good bat control. And just out of the reach of Ryan Schimpf at third on that breaking ball. Actually, a good amount past Ryan Schimpf to his left. Hey, he got his ground ball, just didn't happen to find the glove.
And that brings Andy Green out of the Padre dugout. Brad Hand throwing in the bullpen, and looks as if they're going to go left-hander back to left-hander. But a terrific job by Friedrich. That is a bid for a shutout in danger here in the 8th inning. No score. Giants and Padres. Pitching change for San Diego. Furniture, proud sponsor of the best seats in the house. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by your San Diego County Lexus dealers. So here, trouble in the top of the 8th inning as the Padres starter Christian Friedrich, allowing only one hit through 7, gives up a double and a single, first and third. Pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. Brad Hand, the left-handed pitcher, to face 3 right-handed batters, and Andy Green likes the odds of Hand against these right-handers. Yes. Eduardo Nunez first.
Yeah, 167 off of left-handers for Nunez, so struggling.
Infield halfway. Nunez has grounded out, a long out to left and a foul out to third. The ball up the middle. Even this late in the game, they'll go for the double play at the corners, try to get the runner at third coming home. One ball, one strike.
Pick that 167 average for Nunez is since he's been with the Giants. He's with the Twins and the Giants. Season total at 270, but Andy Green like it, especially the way Brad Hand has been throwing the ball this year. Right-handers, batters off of Brad Hand, 235, so he likes this matchup.
And he likes the fact he's a strikeout pitcher. 82 innings, 102 strikeouts. 77th appearance. He leads the National League. There's his strikeout numbers. And a wave at a miss weekly. by Eduardo Nunez. You get him to swing like that again, and then you get that first down.
That's a nasty slider. Boy, out of the hand, it looks so fat of a pitch, and next thing you know, it's in the dirt. You get the point of no return, you can't hold up.
Yeah, that was a weed cutter swing.
Yeah.
Let's see if Hand can put him away. 1-2. Another defensive swing.
And another slider.
What a contribution Brad Hand has made to the ball club this year.
Great job in the big leagues tonight from Christian Friedrich. Now it's Brad Hand in the bullpen to leave those inherited runners out there. Slider.
Pagan a big lead at first. Hard shot to third. Schimpf goes to second for one. Back to first, not in time, but one away, and the runners stay at first and third. Petty play. Schimpf wasted no time. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. Nunez safe on the fielder's choice.
Just that one little look from Ryan Schimpf. Here it is. Watch the runner breaks. Back his panic. Goes to second. Hey, at least you get an out, right? You get an out. Still same situation. First and third. Just that little look. Get it back.
Of course, the hesitation took away the double play, but he gets the out. No run scores, and the double play still in order.
They may be talking about the slide at second base. Was he out of line to the bag on the slide? We'll have to wait and see if in fact that is the call they're challenging. See, Dick, this is where the umpires need, like the NFL. We are going to check the play at second base per request of manager Andy Green. We'll be right back with you.
I mean, how tough can that be? And the umpires feel that they just don't want to be on a microphone. They might embarrass themselves. It can't be that difficult. I'll volunteer my services to coach them up in the offseason. I mean, it just would improve the game's experience for fans and for us too. I mean, why should we be kept, you know, on the outside? We're here. They paid a good dollar to come and see this major league game, and it works in the NFL.
Yep.
And then after the decision's made, to announce again.
Right.
Here's why it was overruled, or here's why, if there wasn't sufficient evidence, why the call stands, whatever. Here's the slide. I mean, I don't think that should be called an out, an automatic out, and then the double play. You know, with my heart, yes.
Yeah.
But if you start calling all of those, you might as well not even slide. Just stop and fall down. You know?
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but the rule states the runner has to slide directly into the bag, right? He was on the outfield side of second base.
No violation is the call. So it stays as originally played. Here comes Andy Green out to talk to Hand. This isn't for a pitching change. This is now what are we going to do if Pagan, who likes to bunt, drops one down.
He just wants to make sure everybody's on the same page. Something that Andy Green is very good about doing, making it very, very clear in the event of a slow chopper, in the event of a one hopper.
Late umpire Muchlinski out there to try to hurry things along. So Pagan, who's lined to left, grounded to third and struck out. Friedrich hoping that Hand can bail him out of first and third, and no one out situation. One out now, first and third. Panik at third. Nunez at first. Some success. Pagan against Hand. Ball one. The middle infielders now are moved back a couple of steps more in traditional double play depth. The play at the corners still would be the same. Try to cut down the runner at third. Popped up off first. A long run for Aswahe. And no one can get to it. Here's Renfroe's throw to the plate. And it's cut off. And the run scores 1-0 Giants. Perhaps it was offline, but you could see Renfroe. He had a bullet coming toward home plate.
You ain't kidding.
So a sac fly for Pagan.
I'll tell you what. I was really looking forward to this throw here because Hunter comes up throwing. This is a P-Rod. Offline a little bit, it looked like, or was it? Yeah, because you know what? Austin Hedges was moving up the third base line. That gives you the indication that it was offline a little bit.
But that would have been a remarkable throw on a base hit, not a sac fly, but a base hit as he bloops it just inside the line. Pagan. So first and second, still only one out. And Posey the batter. Yeah, that's tough luck for the Padres as Pagan fooled. It's that little duck snort down the right field line. Foul tip, 1-1. Tie broken here in the 8th inning. Leadoff double by Panic. Tomlinson's pinch single sent Panic to third after Nunez fielder's choice. The bloop base hit by Pagan, and the RBI, his 50th of the year.
Derek Law, the right-hander, heating up for the Giants.
2-1. Posey 0 for 3 on the night. Gerald Dempsey, Posey the third. Buster, not Trey, but Buster. He's had particular success against Hand. Breaking ball 2-2. Before the All-Star break, the Giants dominating in the close games, 1 run, 20-10. Now look, after the All-Star game, 7-16 in single run affairs. Good teams are in the plus column in those 1-run games. It correlates very closely to championship play. Swing and a miss. He gets Posey on strikes. 103 punch outs for Brad Hand on the year.
Great pitch by Brad Hand. He went back to the slider again. The back door, it ends up down the heart of the plate right at the knees, and Posey swings right through it.
So 2 outs, 2 on to Hunter Pence. 0 for 3 tonight. Three for 8 against the man he faces. Nunez at second, Pagan at first. Breaking ball doesn't quite get enough of the plate. Isn't that the way it goes? Two pitchers, working shutout ball, and then the run scores on a dunked shot in right field. Let's hope it stays that way as Pence up there with 2 on, 2 out. Ripped fair into the left field corner with 2 outs. They're running. Nunez scores, and holding at third is Pagan. 2-0 as Pence rips one past third.
Well, after a heavy dose of breaky ball sliders, in particular to Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, he spins on a fastball, 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and he just keeps it fair.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy hasn't had a lot to applaud here of late, but Pence provides a 2-out RBI double. It's 2-0. Both those runs charged to Friedrich, so he pitches a beautiful game. Shutout through 7, but puts 2 men on, double single here in the 8th. They both come around to score. And that runner in scoring position totals improving a bit for San Francisco. As we mentioned, at the Dodgers, the 3-game series, they were 1 for 17. Tonight they're 3 for 5. Hernandez has walked, doubled, and grounded to third. 4 hits in the inning for the Giants. Second and third, 2 outs. 1-1. It's a brutal game. So 7 innings plus 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Just goes to show you how tough it is to win a big league ball game. Because first of all, you don't know who you're matched up against. You have no control once that ball leaves your hand, whether it's a blooper or a line shot.
1-2 for Gorkys Hernandez. Yeah, it's. How did you handle that? I mean, you really pitched a great game, and they don't hit it hard, and they squeak out a run or 2 and beat you on broken bad hits or Texas leaguers.
You know, if you leave the game and you know in your heart you did the best you could and you made the best pitches you can, there's nothing else you can do, right?
Take a pat on the back and wait for your next turn. Popped up off third. Myers may have a play. He does. Inning comes to an end, but the Giants score 2 on 4 runs, 2 on 4 hits, and it's 2-0. go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Padres trailing 2-0, and in between innings, some interesting conversations going in the Padres first base dugout. And we'll peek in here. Will Myers and Austin Hedges, and we're only guessing that that involved the throw by Renfroe into home plate that Myers cut off.
Yeah, you know what? Just by watching Austin right there, he said, if you let that ball go through, I may have had to go to my left and then get him on the swipe tag, because you can see the body movement by Austin going down the third base line. I'm just guessing that what he said, because that was his motion when he was trying to describe it to Will Myers on the bench.
That ball was coming in like a rocket.
Yeah, it was.
There might have been a chance, and that would have made a big difference in the inning. So it's 2-0. John Jay is going to pinch hit for Luis Sardinas, and the new pitcher is Derek Law for the San Francisco Giants. 1-1 to Jay.
Well, 57th game for Derek Law. A nice ERA, nice numbers, very few walks. Low to mid 90s on the heater, a breaking ball, change up.
From Pittsburgh, high school there. Good DNA. His dad Joe was a pitcher and got up to the Oakland A's organization for a cup of coffee. Jay sends it high to center field. Hernandez tucks it away for the first down. Talk about frustration. His dad Joe made it to the big leagues with the A's, called up late for 4 games, never got in a game.
Oh, that's too bad.
How tough would that be?
Yeah.
Well, you lived through your son that I'm sure trained Derek, as Alex Dickerson pinch hits for Brad Hand. Ball 1. Dickerson continues to impress. .255 average with 9 home runs. And that ball is drilled to deep right field. Did I say 9? How about 10? Dickerson will touch them all. It's 2-1. Piece of pinch hitting.
1-0 fastball, and Alex Dickerson turns on it, and it's got that sound. And with the way the Padres swing the bat there, hopefully it carries over. And with the way that the Giants bullpen has been going lately, the Padres got the Giants right where they want them.
That's well over the home run deck. That would have been a home run in the old Petco Park dimensions, and that brings Bruce Bochy to the mound, and here he goes into the pen. The Giants 2-1. Padres dugout as Alex Dickerson clubs a major league shot to right field for the Padres' first run, and it's a 2-1 game. And Will Smith beckoned in from the bullpen, his 50th appearance, 3.65 ERA.
Yeah, remember, Will Smith was acquired by the Giants from the Brewers right at the deadline for a couple of minor leaguers. Overall numbers with the Brewers and the Giants, his 50th game. And with the righty Rosales coming up to the plate, 219 against righties for Will Smith.
So Adam Rosales batting for Travis Jankowski. And he takes it inside. Rosales in the game on Tuesday night, the Padres 5-2 hit a 2-run homer and a couple of sac flies. Inside 2-0. Rosales 11 home runs. Dickerson now with 10. Sitting on a 2-0 pitch. And takes it low. Just called up. Torres. Left-hander from El Paso. And that's Brandon Maurer, the right-hander. There's a strike. So along with the core four, Padres also brought up Jose Torres and Buddy Bauman. A couple of lefties.
Got more to work with right down finally, huh, Professor?
Yeah, he's pleased about that. He's been short-handed for a long time. At the knees, 3-2. Sergio Romo, the veteran right-hander, slider ball. And he gets him inside. Boy, that's rallying from a 3-0. Next 3 pitches strikes, and Rosales is out.
Pretty sharp breaking ball right there from Will Smith. You can see why he's got the numbers he does versus right-handers. Hit 213 off the lefty. Does that breaking ball down and in. Very nice.
So 2 outs to Manny Margot, looking for his first big league hit. His initial major league start tonight. Grounded out, popped up, and struck out. In the dirt. Not a home run hitter at El Paso. He hit 6.
Carlos Asuaje working on the technique. Finding that rhythm.
He's 4 hitters away, but he's ready. Slow breaking ball catches the outside corner.
Kid's got the rally caps, got the rally glove. Hoping for some Padre magic here late.
Over but low, 2-1. I'd like to see this 21-year-old on the bases. They say he can really fly. So he fell behind Rosales 3-0, but struck him out. Try to get that tying run aboard here in the 8th inning. Well, they dress a little differently up there in San Francisco. Ripped to third and stagged by Nunez. The one-hop throw is in time. What a play by the third baseman Nunez. From his knees, able to throw out the speedy Margot. Dickerson, however, has put the Padres on the board with that long home run, number 10. We go to the 9th. The Giants leading 2-1. They really tell the story of my career, the people with whom I've worked, that I've admired, rubbed shoulders with a lot of greatness. My heroes, my colleagues, the people I've admired most in my life, great events that I've been privileged to cover. Each one has a story, and I think these are much more valuable than any trophies that I've earned.
Tonight, Fox Sports San Diego shines the spotlight on Hall of Famer and our good friend broadcaster Dick Enberg as he shares the stories of his life tonight after Padres Live right here on Fox Sports San Diego. You will not want to miss it.
Jose Torres makes his major league debut here in the 9th inning. He'll face Brandon Belt, A-Ray Adrianza, and Joe Panik for the Giants, with the Giants leading 2-1. Dickerson stays in the game in left, John Jay to center, and Renfroe being coached by Jay over there in right field. And Rosales in at shortstop, and Belt hits it to left field. They challenge immediately. Dickerson turns him around, and the ball bounces into the seats for a ground rule double. Belt wastes no time in greeting Torres to the major leagues.
Well, you're always taught to get ahead. That ball is outer half, and Brandon Belt hits that ball sharply that way. That's a good piece of hit, and take that fastball away.
You could see how it sliced away from Dickerson from that shot. 2-1 the score. Let's see how the Giants play it with the leadoff hitter at second base. Adrianza has struck out and grounded twice to second. Myers in on the grass, ready to charge from first. And the pitch inside. Well, this game moved along scoreless through 7 innings, and then the Giants broke through with 2 runs and 4 hits in the top of the 8th. Dickerson's pinch home run, making it 2-1. And now in the 9th inning, where the Giants have had major collapses during the course of the year, especially in the last half of the season. Bunted in the air and dropped by Torres. A heck of an effort. That would have been a sensational play by the kid. Wow, did he have a long way to go from the pitching mound all the way into foul territory, and almost pulled it off.
I'll tell you what, I could not believe he got to that ball as quickly as he did. He had it, and then when he hits, the ball jars around and out of his glove. What a great effort, Jose.
I thought the ground can't force a fumble. Oh, that's the other game. Okay.
Yeah, good call.
Doesn't work in this game.
Good call, Dick.
Yeah, he had it. A for effort. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Let's see if the Giants continue to have Adrianza try to let him along. Schimpf at third has to hold his ground, and Myers has the luxury of charging, hoping that he is indeed bunting and not swinging away. Tied him up there, 1-2, and he was swinging. 93 on the fastball. Like a cutter.
Yep. Good sharp breaking ball in on the hands. Jose pitched well in the playoffs for El Paso. A 1.8 ERA in 5 innings of work for the left-hander.
With 2 strikes, Myers backs off, bag high at first. He must have a good sinker. He's had a couple of fouls off the foot. Well, a look at the pitching matchup for tomorrow. It's brought to you by Volkswagen Kearney Mesa. Albert Suarez makes his 12th start, as does Edwin Jackson. Makes his 12th for the Padres. And the veteran Jackson, he's tough to figure out. You know, 1 week he's floating with a no-hitter. The next week the home run ball bites him. Let's hope he's got the right stuff tomorrow. Shades of Raleigh Fingers here tonight. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is. Adrianza really got that ball. Even though he's winning that protector there. Got him pretty good.
Gives time for Hedges to go out and chat with Torres. Of course, they know each other well from their collaborations down in El Paso. So Belt with a leadoff double, bouncing into the left field seats. No one out. Padres trying to check the Giants at 2-1 and hope in the bottom of the 9th inning the Lightning can strike again against the Giants, who have had trouble in the 9th. 9 games they've lost when leading going into the 9th inning. Center field. Here comes Jay. And the runner will hold. 1 away. Let's go back to our keys to the game, brought to you by your Honda dealers of San Diego.
Well, the first one was continue the post All-Star trend. Remember that prior to the All-Star break, 9-0 the Giants over the Padres. Post All-Star, 6-0 Padres. Well, they trailed 2-1 tonight. And no big stage intimidation. Renfroe, 2 hits. Asuaje and Margot, no hits. Seems like they're not phased, though.
No.
Looking very comfortable out there tonight.
Panic got the Giants started to their 2-run 8th inning with a double just off the glove of Hunter Renfroe in right field. Ooh. 96.
That's some good fuzz right there from Torres.
Pinch hitter on deck is Denard Span. One and one to Panic. It's an interesting surname, Panic, because what the Giants liked most about this young man when he came up a year ago was he didn't panic. He was so cool, and he adjusted to the Major League Baseball, cool and quiet, solid.
That's exactly what manager Bruce Bochy said about the second baseman. Not really flashy, but he gets the job done.
He can play. And the count levels at 2-2. And Sergio back up, working on his slider. He was the closer, lost his job, and then Bochy's gone through a series of pitchers. Castillo, start of this year. Casillas. Weak wave and a miss. He fooled Panic with that one. First major league strikeout for Jose Torres.
And it's coming in hot. Fastball 96-97 off the plate. Big strikeout.
So here's Denard Span. So the Padres have the middle of their order. Myers, Schimpf, and Renfroe ready in the bottom of the 9th inning. Renfroe tonight is 2 for 3. Out of play. Torres trying to pitch out of that leadoff double by Belt. He's still out there with 2 gone. foul.
Big hole in right center field. My goodness. John Jay really pitching that left center field gap.
2 strikes on Span. Kelby Tomlinson pinch hit in this spot in the last inning and had a critical single on the way to a 2-run inning for the Giants. Swing and a miss. 95 on the strikeout fastball. A couple of punch outs for Jose Torres. Sergio Romo ready to come in bottom of the 9th inning. Let's see if the Padres can do some damage. It'll be Myers, Schimpf, Renfroe with a score 2-1 San Francisco. Time for the Carl's Jr. star of the game, Jeff Samardzija, the 31-year-old right-hander of the Giants, pitching 7 shutout innings tonight, allowing only 4 singles, not a walk, and 9 strikeouts. He stands to be the winner if the Giants can hold a 2-1 lead going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Jeff Samardzija, our Carl's Jr. star of the game. As Will Myers comes up, looking for a base hit to extend his hitting streak to 11 consecutive games against the veteran Romo.
Well, Sergio Romo earned his first save of the season on Tuesday against the Dodgers. First opportunity for that save. He is a strike thrower. 28 strikeouts in 25+ innings, only 7 walks. And like you mentioned earlier, Dick, slider, 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 slider. Heavy on the sliders from Romo.
Again, the Giants have the worst record in Major League Baseball blown saves, 29, a franchise record this year. There's the slider. It's a good one, even though they think it's coming. Last 3 outings, he's given up a couple of runs. Another slider.
Well, it's worth mentioning again, since August 13th, as Dick was alluding to, August 13th, Giants relievers own a 6.35 ERA in the 9th inning or later, compared to a 1.65 ERA in all other innings during that stretch.
You see Nathan, 2 veterans out in the bullpen. It's up to Romo. Outside target. He doesn't fish this time. 1-2.
And there's the numbers. Proof is in the pudding since August 13th.
Yeah, they pitch well in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and then things fall apart when they come out in the 9th. Strike 3. Oh, he got a call there right on the corner at the knees. Myers thought that was a bit too generous a call. He is walking back to the dugout, struck out for the 3rd time tonight. Yeah, this late in the game, usually those calls aren't given to the pitcher, but Romo gets the strikeout. Here's Ryan Schimpf. He has struck out twice tonight. As our friend Orsillo would say, 11 Padres have gone the way of the K. Shift on for Schimpf. One and one.
Well, it's going to be the slider about 75 to 77 from Romo, as Hunter Renfroe waits on deck, and the fastball about 85, 86 for Sergio Romo. He is not an overpowering pitcher, but he can hit his spots.
And his target is that outside corner. Foul tip, 1 and 2.
86.
Looks so good you can't resist, and sometimes it isn't a strike. Two 2-1 Giants, the opener of the 4-game weekend series.
Sinker away.
2-2. Well, Schimpf has the power to take that pitch outside to the opposite field. We've seen that.
Goes the other way this time. That was a better strike than the one that got Will Myers. Yeah, and that was the breaking ball. That was the slider.
3-2. With that tying run on. That spin on that ball.
Yep.
Wow.
That baseball split that inside corner of the plate.
Oh, the late break on that slider.
Yep.
Speed, and Schimpf got a piece of it. In San Francisco, the Padres were down 4-2, then it was 4-3, and then Schimpf, a 3-run shot to right field in the deepest part of AT&T Park. That was awesome, as described even by the Giants media. No one hits him out there, but Schimpf did, and beat the Giants 6-4. And hits that one to left field. That's dumped into left for a base hit. Schimpf takes a big turn. He's going to gamble. Here's the throw to second. Not in time. A double for Schimpf. He's not going to stop at first base with a single. He's going to get an extra base hit. That's what he's made of. Tying run in scoring position. Well, turnabout's fair play. Go back to the dunk base hit by Angel Pagan.
And because this ball is hit so softly down the left field line, the way the Giants are positioned in the outfield, he was thinking two right out of the gate. That is the tying run. Doesn't even break stride.
Just don't jam your hand into that bag. So the tying run in scoring position. Hunter Renfroe, Major League debut as a starter. Single, and a ground out to second. Wouldn't it be something if he tied into one? A slider, and he's going to see something that he hasn't been able to school in the Pacific Coast League. A slider from Romo. There's the slider. 0-2. Here in the month of September, there they are, leading going into the 9th inning 5 times and came away having to digest a defeat, including the game where Schimpf hit the 3-run homer September 13 up at TNT.
And when you're in the wild card chase, that is huge.
The Mets rallied in extra innings, down 2 to win tonight. St. Louis idle. Renfroe with 30 home runs at El Paso to lead the team, lead all of the Padres minor leaguers. Carlos Asuaje on deck. So a couple of call-ups making their first big league start with a chance to tie it and win it for the Padres. You figure he's not going to get a fastball unless it's way out of the strike zone. Another slider. Asuaje hit the ball hard. Line drive to right a second time up. Pops him up. Belt from first. 2 away. Went out, had to reach for that slider. So Asuaje, it's his chance to be the hero tonight with 2 gone and tying run at second. Flied out, line to right, grounded out to second. He's a contact hitter. Trying to hold. .321 hitter at El Paso. Slider outside in, catches the corner. PCL's Rookie of the Year. Dad watching on. Great meeting him, Julie with an interview earlier. Bounce to the left side. Up with it is Adrianza, and the ball game is over. This one goes to the Giants. They're now 8 and 16 in 1-run games. Final score: San Francisco 2, San Diego 1. Here's Mike Pomeranz.
Dick, thanks very much. When Mark and I see you on Padres Live, the post-game show, we're going to hear from Andy Green, his thoughts on the way his youngsters played tonight. Also, Jeff Samardzija, really the story of this ball game. We'll tell you what was so successful, what the Padres had trouble with in a moment.